So ISO controls essentially one main thing, the brightness or exposure of your image. The higher your ISO, the brighter your image. The lower your ISO, the darker your image. Pretty simple. Now you might think, oh, that's super simple. I can just crank up my ISO when I want things to be brighter, and I can just make my ISO super, super low whenever I want things to be darker. So it's not exactly that simple. One thing that you have to be aware of, when you raise your ISO, it increases the sensitivity of your sensor inside your camera as the ISO value goes up. So what this does is as you raise your ISO value, it starts to introduce what's called grain. And grain can be a tricky thing. So as you get to a certain ISO, more and more grain will start to appear in your image. Sometimes grain can be a good thing because grain can almost emulate a film look, which whenever they used to shoot movies on film, there was natural grain and it looked really good and had like a very filmic appearance, and filmic appearance is good. Essentially what that means, if you have that filmic appearance, you have the appearance of, oh, there's subtle grain, there's a filmic appearance, you have a high-end feeling, like, oh, this looks very, very well produced. Now on that side, grain is good. But on this side, if you crank your ISO too much, it introduces so much grain, bad grain, and what this means is whenever you see an image that's really, really blotchy and really gross looking and really muddy, and you see like red and green dots, like TV static almost under the image, but you can't quite see it, that's bad grain. So if you raise your ISO too much, you'll introduce what's called bad grain, and we don't want bad grain. Bad grain makes your video look really, really cheap and really, really amateur, and good grain does quite the opposite. And ISO sensitivity kind of controls the whole thing. Some cameras, some higher end cameras have inherently better grain, better looking grain. And a lot of lower end cameras don't necessarily have the best looking grain. So here's how I would suggest you go about ISO. Turn your ISO high enough in a scene if you need a brighter image in your scene. Well, first of all, keep your ISO as low as possible while getting a good image. I'm shooting at my lowest ISO on this camera right now, and this image looks very clean. There's no grain up in these shadows or anything like that. I have adjusted my lighting, and we'll talk about lighting more in future videos. That'll be helpful. But here's what I would suggest how you to approach it. Test it out, crank your ISO enough to where you start seeing the grain in your image. And then whenever you do that, bring it into your editing software that you have and look at the image and see, oh, does this look good or does this look bad? Does this look like, and compare it and contrast to other people's videos, people that you look up to and stuff like that. And you could even take multiple different clips of multiple different ISO values that you shoot, put them side by side, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about when I talk about good grain and bad grain. And truthfully, it's all subjective, but there are some types of grain that are not subjective, that look just inherently bad, that everybody pretty much agrees, like, that looks like a bad image.